Okay, we're live on Facebook. Hello, everybody. This is Ask the Tax Lien Lady Live, where you get to ask me your questions about tax lien and tax deed investing, and I answer them for you here on Facebook. And I have a question for you. And Nicole, this might be a good question to put in the group. If you knew you could be successful at tax liens or tax deeds, like if there was no question, you knew you would be successful at getting good tax liens or tax deeds in the next 60 days, what would you do first? What would be your first step? Okay, I will tell you my first step would be to look and see what sales are coming up all around the country. And I have a tool that lets me do that. Okay, so if you knew you were going to be successful in tax lien or tax deed investing, what would be your first step? If you knew you were going to be successful in the next 60 days, or even in the next 30 days, right? What would be your first step? I already told you what mine would be. Okay. And for some of you, you might say, well, if I knew I could be successful, I'd go out and get the money. I'd borrow the money. I don't recommend that you borrow money for tax liens or tax deeds because you don't know when you're going to get paid. With redeemable deeds and tax liens, you don't get paid until the property owner decides to redeem the lien or redeemable deed. Of course, if they don't do it within the redemption period, then you can foreclose on the property, okay? But a lot of these redemption periods could be 2 or 3 years, right? Now, some of them are shorter. There are states with shorter redemption periods than that, but you're still waiting a few months. And if you're borrowing money, a lot of places you borrow the money from want to get paid every month, right? So, however, if you knew you were going to be successful in the next, 30 or 60 days with tax liens or tax deeds, in other words, buying profitable liens or deeds, you knew you could buy profitable liens or deeds. They're not going to pay off that quickly, right? They might, well, they might, but you might have to wait a couple of months or a year, or in some states, 2 years, right? But even in states that have a 2-year redemption period, like I had a client who made 7% on her money in 6 months. Most of her liens redeemed in 6 months. Okay. So what I would do if I wanted to get the money to invest, if that was my first step, is I would find a partner who had the money, and I would be the legs, the boots on the ground. Now, don't ask me to be your partner because I'm a manager for a fund now, so I don't do that anymore. But actually, I never did it as a partnership. People would come to me and say, can I just give you my money and you go invest for me? No, that's not what I do. That would be a full-time job. As a matter of fact, the fund that I manage may turn into a full-time job at some point, at which time I won't be coaching anymore. Okay. But right now I am. So hello, when you come on, let me know what state you're in. And bring your questions. I have a question, you guys that just came on. I can put that question. Oh, actually, you should see the question on Facebook in the title, in the description of this Facebook Live. This is Ask the Tax Lien Lady Live, where I get to answer your questions about tax lien and tax deed investing. So when you ask me your question, though, just let me know what state you're investing in, because tax lien investing is so different in every state. So, and tax deed investing even. States have different procedures, right? And redeemable deed investing, very different in the states that do it. Okay. And in some states, tax lien investing or tax sales can be different. Like New York has all kinds of different tax sales. Maryland, tax lien state, different tax lien sales in every county, but a different interest rate in every county. How about that? Okay. All right. So what are your questions? What questions can I answer for you today? And Nicole, did we have any questions in the group? We have a Facebook group. It is Tax Lien Investing Success is the name of the group. It is a private group for tax lien investors, but it is free to join. You just need to agree to the terms, just no soliciting. You have to be interested in tax liens and tax deeds, of course. Yeah, Nicole, while you're taking a look there, also take a look on the YouTube channel. Sometimes we get questions there because you know that we post these also to our YouTube channel because some people just aren't on Facebook, right? Okay, so what questions do you guys have for me today? And let me know who's watching. Say hello. Let me know where you're from, so that I can best answer your questions. We did just have a promotion for our Atlas training, Advanced Tax Lien Investing Secrets training. That ended this morning. Actually, it ended midnight Pacific time. And this is a training that I haven't done since before COVID, since 2019. And it's an 8-week, we've expanded it to 8 weeks. It used to be 6 or 7 weeks. We've expanded it to 8 weeks to give people time to actually do the work. And my goal for the people in this training is for them to get start building their profitable tax lien or deed portfolio in the 8 weeks we do the course. Now, the fourth quarter of the year is the best time to go to tax sales, I believe. And I know a lot of people think, well, what about the winter? What about February? That's when Arizona has their online sales. Or what about May when Florida has their online sales? I'm not a big fan of Arizona. I have invested in their online sales before, but I'm not a big fan of Arizona. It's a 3-year redemption period, and they nickel and dime you for everything in Arizona. They make you pay for everything. So you really have to get bigger liens in Arizona for you to make money. And of course, the bigger liens are competitive, and it's tougher to get them. Okay, can you still make money in Arizona? Yeah, if you pick the right liens. But you can't take the real small liens you're going to see are not competitive. They're not competitive because you could lose money on them. Okay. And yeah, some people think, well, what about Florida? Florida is typically bid down to 0.25%, right? But that's because investors get the penalty, the 5% penalty, instead of the interest rate. If the lien redeems and what they're going to get is less than 5%, they get 5% instead. Not bad, right? But and they only happen in May, and they are so competitive that it's tough to get anything good there. So, and not because of what you bid. You might bid down the lowest rate. It's just that there's thousands of bids on one property at the lowest rate. So the institutions, really have an advantage there. But right now, what goes on the last quarter of the year, there's 2 reasons why the last quarter of the year, I think, is the best time to go to tax sales, whether you're doing it online or live. 2 reasons. One is you have the holiday season coming up. You have Thanksgiving and Christmas, and a lot of people take off. Okay. And it's also the end of the year. So some companies have used their money for the year. Okay. Although big hedge funds don't have that problem, but some smaller, medium-sized funds and in smaller investors, they might have already placed their money by the end of the year. Now, the other reason why I like the last quarter of the year for tax sales is because you have the Michigan tax deed sales that are basically done, but they sell everything that didn't sell. In the first sale, they have a second sale and sell everything that didn't sell. Those are going on now, by the way, in Michigan. And the great thing about these is I like them so much better than, you might say, well, isn't that like a over-the-counter or leftover deed? But not really, because there's still bidding going on. So it's not like it's just sitting there at the county, and by the time you get there, all the good stuff is gone, right? It's still a bidding situation. So, and good things do get in those sales, because either in the first sale, the starting bid was too high. Sometimes it's lowered in the second sale, or, maybe there were other reasons why it didn't get sold. And so sometimes you can find good stuff in there. Maybe whoever bought it didn't pay or couldn't pay, and it went into the second sale. Okay, and then Colorado has their online tax lien sales this time of year. Indiana has their tax lien sales this year. Many of those are online, and New Jersey has the bulk of their sales in the last quarter of the year. As a matter of fact, December is the busiest month for New Jersey. So, just some reasons why it's really good. And there are other states having online sales too, not just these states. There are other, and live sales. There are live sales going on. Redeemable deed sales. Redeemable deed sales go on all the time. In Texas and Georgia, some counties have them every month, and some of those Texas counties have gone online. And Tennessee, many of the Tennessee counties have gone online. Now, the other reason I like this time of year is this is the season for South Carolina tax sales. Now, they are all live, but I really don't mind going down to South Carolina this time of year. Yeah, so those are some of the good things that are going on this time of year. So Nicole tells me that we have no questions ahead of time. And I know there's a couple people watching. So let me know what your questions are. Let me ask you another question. What have you tried so far? Have you done anything so far with tax lien or tax deed investing? Obviously, you came to my page and you saw this Facebook Live for a reason. You're interested in tax liens or tax deeds. And maybe you're an investor already, or maybe you're just getting started. And it sounds like somebody just came in, so I'm going to go close the door. I'll be right back. All right, I just closed the door so we don't get any background noise, but go ahead and let me know what your questions are. Because that's why I'm here. I'm here to answer your questions. Now, this is the time for me, too, to go to live tax sales. I went to a live tax sale last week. I have a tax sale planned in a couple of days, but I don't know if I'm going to go, because I don't know if you've noticed my voice is a little different today. Anybody notice that? I do have a cold, so I have my water here with me so I can keep drinking water all day. And it gets kind of boring drinking water all day. So I do have my coffee in the morning, plenty of coffee in the morning, because that hot coffee feels good on my throat. But then because I want to drink a lot of water all day, I have seltzer water too. So like flavored seltzer water, naturally flavored seltzer water, I drink that. So Natalie, what state are you in? Where are you going to invest? So you've been wanting to get started, but yeah, life gets in the way. Tell me about it. Yeah, I want to go to this sale in a couple of days, but I might not be able to, just because I don't want to get everybody sick. Okay. Yeah, let me know what state you're in, and maybe I can give you some tips. I also do a tax lien investing tip every week inside the Facebook group. And I do it on Thursday at 12 o'clock. All right, in Florida, not sure where to start, low on funds. Okay. Florida is a good place to start with the liens if you are low on funds, but because they do have a lot of, smaller liens in Florida, but that doesn't happen till May. And as I mentioned, it's very competitive. You could also start in Indiana. Also, some of the Florida tax lien sales you have to put a deposit on, but you could take a look into Indiana because a lot of those sales you don't need a deposit. However, in Indiana, the price of the lien gets bid up, so you do need a little bit more money in Indiana than you do in Florida. In Florida, just the interest rate gets bid down. Colorado is another state you could look into that has online tax lien sales. And Colorado has actually two different types of sales. There's, each county gets to decide what's a big lien and what's a small lien, and they have a different sale for the smaller liens than they do for the bigger liens. One county might say, anything $1,000 or over is a bigger lien, and they would sell that online, the counties that do the online sales, but the counties that, even the counties that do the online sales for those larger liens have live sales for the smaller liens. And the smaller liens, they sell on a random basis. It's a round robin or random selection. So what they do is every bidder gets a number and you're offered the next lien, according to your number. So if you got the first number in the sale, you get the first lien in the sale. Okay. And some of these sales, you do not get the opportunity to decline it. All right. And some you do get the opportunity to decline it, but you might not get another opportunity to get anything. So it's not the greatest just because you don't know what you're going to get. You have to do your due diligence on everything. But the larger liens, what they pay premium for the larger liens. So they bid premium on the larger liens, but you don't get your premium back in Colorado like you do in Indiana. You get your premium back plus interest when the lien redeems. So people might pay a lot of premium in Indiana because they're going to get interest on all of it. Well, in Colorado, they're not going to pay that much premium because they are not going to get it back if the lien redeems or when the lien redeems, right? So that effectively lowers the interest rate that they're getting. Okay. So right now, the stuff that's going on right now, Colorado might be a good place for you to look at the online tax lien sales that are coming up in Colorado. All right. Any other questions? Any other questions? And Natalie, you're in the right place to learn about the truth about tax lien investing. One thing, I do have a reputation, and you're welcome. I do have a reputation on being the most trusted authority on tax liens in the US. And that is because I don't tell people what they want to hear. I'm going to tell it to you like it is. All right. Any other questions? Okay, so let me ask you this, Natalie. Have you tried anything yet? Have you done it, even if it's just going to a seminar or taking a course? Have you tried anything yet? Or have you, what have you done? Have you done anything so far? And that goes for whoever else is watching too. I would love to know what you've already tried. What have you already tried? And if you hear, I've got a cat here. I've got the heater on next to me, and the cat is on the other side of the heater, and she's an old cat, and she snores very loud. So If you hear that snoring noise, that's my cat. Okay. Yeah, that was, I don't know if you guys could hear it, but she's pretty loud. Okay, so you've done real estate investing in general, but not tax sales. Okay, well, that's how I got started with tax sales to begin with. I wanted to invest in real estate, but at the time I didn't have a lot of money. So when you don't have a lot of money and you don't have good credit and you don't have a lot of know-how and you don't know how to use other people's money, now I do, but back then I didn't. I have flipped some properties since I've started investing. I found a mentor who helped me do that and use other people's money, get investors to put up the money to buy these houses and then split the profit with the investors. So I did do some real estate investing since I became a tax lien investor. But when I became a tax lien investor, I did it because I couldn't figure out how to invest in real estate. I knew that was the way to wealth, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I thought, well, if I don't have enough money or enough credit or enough know-how to buy property, at least I could buy the lien on the property and control it that way and get my money that way. I think you make probably as much with tax lien. You make the same ROI with tax lien investing as you do with flipping properties, but you don't, and it takes about the same amount of time, right? But you don't have to do as much work at all. As a matter of fact, in some states, you don't do any work at all, right? Just a little bit of paperwork, that's all. All right. And you make just as much money as you do with flipping properties. And you put less money down usually. You're going to need, for flipping properties, right? You're going to need 5 figures, right? You're going to need at least 5 figures, multiple 5 figures. Okay. For tax lien investing, it's great if you have multiple 5 figures because you can get a lot done with that. And the more you invest, the more you can make. But you can also start with a few thousand. You can start with a couple of $1,000s with tax liens in the right state for the live sales. Okay. For people that don't have a lot of money to invest, what I recommend is that you find a live sale, a live tax lien sale, not redeemable deed sale. Those are going to be too steep. Okay. But a live tax lien sale, preferably one where the price of the lien is not bid up. Okay, or not bid up that high anyway. All right, so if we don't have any more questions, and Natalie, thank you so much for your input, for sharing with us today. It's great to have you here. And we show up here Tuesday at 2 p.m. every week, or almost. There's some weeks when I'm away when I don't make it, but I make it here most weeks, okay, to answer your questions about tax lien and tax deed investing. And sometimes to give some insight and let you know what's going on in the tax lien marketplace, okay? What's happening. And at taxlienlady.com, what we're doing here. So we are starting this week the Advanced Tax Lien Investing Secrets training. I got the first lesson out yesterday, and we have our first coaching call tomorrow. And that's what we'll be doing for the next 8 weeks. And you can get on the wait list. for the next one, which will probably not be until the spring. Okay, because the next really good time to go to tax sales isn't until the spring. Okay, but this is my favorite time right now to go to tax sales. All right, so I'll see you, and maybe I'll see you at a tax sale. Or I'll see you here next week. Bye.